Okay, well, welcome everyone to session two, Song for the World to Come, Justice and Freedom Songs. And I wanted to, so we're gonna have some discussion, look at some sources together, and then do a little bit of singing. And tonight's class is gonna be a combo of sort of relaxing. It's gonna be more of uh, like you just get to sort of have a live concert and I'm going to just perform for you and you can sit back and enjoy the music and then a little bit of singing together. So a lot of bang for your buck. um, so for those of you, I think all of you were here for our Nigun class last class, which was songs when there are no words. And now we're moving to talk about songs where words are actually really important, different medicines for different times. And I wanted to start by opening up a question to the group. Um, has anyone here experienced or seen protest songs? So have any of you experienced or seen protest songs? And um, I want to hear what the occasion was, and then if you want to say a bit about how it felt, like how that experience was for you personally, we would love to hear it. So, okay, Bobby, I saw your hand, so let's start with you.
Yeah. So I have a couple of times, but one time that was really notable was when I took a bus with power to Harrisburg. And I think we were looking for school funding at that point. And there were two buses, so it was a good number of people. And we sang not on the bus, but when we got off the bus, as we were walking around, we walked a couple of blocks up to the Capitol, the state Capitol. And we were led by Rabbi Sean Zevid, who a lot of us know
Mhm.
from Mishkan Shalom, and also our new city council person, Nicholas O'Rourke, who is a pastor. Um, and Nick has you people are going to get tired of hearing me say this, but if you haven't heard him, he has the voice of an angel,
Mhm.
and Sean has the heart, you know. So it was just so meaningful. I mean, Nick got us riled up, you know, kind of like Obama's, you're fired up, you're ready to go. Um, and it was just really meaningful. Now you're going to ask me what songs, and I can't remember.
It's okay.
But yeah, and then there have been a couple of protests here in the city where we sang as well.
Mm, beautiful.
Yeah.
For those who just joined, so glad you're here with us tonight. And the question that I just put to the group that Bobby was answering was, who here has um, been to a protest where there was singing, been to or experienced other protest songs in other settings, and then what was that like for you? So Bobby was just sharing about her trip with Power to Harrisburg, and how it got everyone really riled up and energized. Who else? Yeah, is that Maria?
Hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, this is going back to the 70s. There was a protest against the Vietnam War, and they were singing something, which I don't remember, but I didn't stay, and um, I didn't like it because my husband was he was my boyfriend at the time, was serving in Vietnam.
Mm, mm. Yeah, so it was hard to be around that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Teresa?
I don't remember if there was music there, but when I first came to Philadelphia, the nicest people to me were the gays, and I had just discovered the gay community. And I remember that how much fun they were. And then the fifth week, I was hanging out with them they killed a gay boy in Wyoming. They mutilated. It was horrible.
Matthew
And
Shepard.
so, yes, Matthew Shepard. And I went to the vigil. I can't remember the songs, but I remember, and maybe I just remember the feelings and the candle lit. And I remember, like, I went because I just was like, oh, it's not all fun and games. They get hurt, and they were like, you went to the vigil. You went to the vigil. Like, it cemented in the community because I went to the vigil. But and the other time I just went, it wasn't a protest, but Bruce Springsteen gave a free concert for Obama. And there was such hope. It was on Benjamin Franklin Parkway, and just Bruce with his guitar and a bazillion white people thinking about voting for a black man. And I'm from Texas, so it was like the most heartening thing, one of the most heartening things I'd seen in my life. And his songs, how beautiful they were. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. And I love the like juxtaposition of those two images. And yeah, I'm thinking about hope in both cases. Like being at the vigil, song is a way to express things that can't just be expressed in just normal speech, just like normal vernacular. There has to be song, and it's a way of processing and moving through, and a way to be in these liminal spaces between life and death, and transition of leadership when there's like all of this promise. So those are great. Karen, yeah.
So I've been in a few marches. I think one was around, I want to say 84, 85 for the ERA, the Women's Equal Rights Amendment. And we marched around the drives up to the Art Museum. And I know we sang, but I don't remember the song. We marched for that. And then in college, we marched for anti-Vietnam, and I think we sang "Give Peace a Chance."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that, like, kind of like Bobby was saying, like it's almost like sometimes it doesn't even matter what the song was, just the whole experience stays with us. Ed, go ahead.
Thanks. I was in my late teens and in college, and pretty involved, but after a very spirited Vietnam War teach-in, I boarded one of several buses to New York City for, at the time, a rather famous Peach March in New York that was followed later by one in DC. And this march in New York was one in which, if I remember correctly, that Dr. Martin Luther King, openly spoke out against the war for the first time. A large march in New York City. But the song, I remember, it's rather unpleasant and made me feel rather misfit to these circumstances. We were marching to the rally down Fifth Avenue, and chant went up, "Hey, hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today?" And I was really uncomfortable. That's certainly, a vivid and eloquent slogan, and it was a catching call. It was really a good call and response, and very spirited. But I wasn't comfortable.
Yeah, and I think similar to what Maria was saying about feeling like, for different reasons, feeling discomfort, songs can be what I like to call, they can be a deep cut. They can sometimes cut even deeper than if the words were just said. And I think there's something there around the power of them, that they can make us uncomfortable. They can make us have strong reactions. They can push us away at the same time that they can bring us in. And I have to say that, you know, as a young person in my 30s, I love working at Leyv Ha-Ir, and I have loved hearing all of your stories because um, it's just very cool and powerful and important, I think, to hear about people's experiences sort of across the decades. I just wanted to say that as well. Yeah, who else wants to share? Yeah, Amy, go ahead.
Well, I'm also kind of from the 60s, and lots of demonstrations and lots of singing. And I appreciate what Maria said, because the one regret I have from that time, I'm gonna cry, is the way we treated the returning soldiers who had been fighting. But there was so much singing. I mean, when we would go to buses down to Washington and things, there would be singing, and a lot of it was Phil Oakes songs and Pete Seeger stuff, and you know, when something in the big muddy on the big sign says to march on, and it's 2, 4, 6. What do we know? And it's 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? Don't ask me. I don't give a damn. Next stop is Vietnam. And it's 5, 6, 7. Open up the pearly gates. Well, it ain't no fine to wonder why. Thank God we're gonna die. I mean, it was like, and it was. We would all sing it. I mean, like everybody knew the words, and you would sing it. And you go to Pete Seeger concerts, and everybody would be singing it. And it's something I feel so sad about in all the protests now, whether it be whether it be the pro anti pro choice, or there's just like no songs. But the song that hit me the most recently was, you actually did it last time, the Baccia Levine song, which, as I said, I had learned back the original version, which was sung at Standing Rock, and it had other verses than the one that you were doing, and it was so powerful, and so unifying. But I missed that. I don't really think there's much going on. My favorites are when people take songs that already exist and write different lyrics so that at least people can get that. But I missed that.
Yeah, I really hear you. I really hear you. In my own sort of personal life, I'm seeing that people, you know, I'm of the opinion that chants serve a purpose, and they can also only get you so far. You know, as soon as people's voices run out, it's just kind of dead energy. And I'm seeing some people, some sort of, you know, some movements that are sort of not thinking so much about song, thinking about other parts of protests, but like being like watching other groups who do bring song be like, oh, wait a second, this is actually just as important as as the rallies that we're planning, and then this and then that, and there's something here. So yeah, I feel you, and I feel heartened that I think that where that's not so much part of a culture, people are sort of arriving there, as we need to be doing something different and something more. Yeah, Joanne, I see you unmuted. Did you want to share? Or Joan, sorry.
No, I have nothing to say
Oh, okay.
at this time.
Got
I,
it.
I just never participated in anti anything as far as I remember.
Joan, I'm going to mute you again.
Okay.
Yeah, great. Well, it seems like Rabbi Julie puts out invitations to power things. So I hear from Bobby that they're singing in those. So it could be interesting. Yeah, anyone else want to share time that you were saw or part of protest singing?
Can I share again?
Yes.
So I had a similar experience to Ed. And I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was in the recent past, where there have been marches, and a lot of the protests come right by my building in Philly, you know, when they walk or they march. And I've joined them at times, depending on what it is. And I love to join in the chants and the singing, except when they start talking about bad-mouthing the police.
Hmm.
And I have an issue with that because, yes, there are some bad police and there are a lot of good police. And I've had experiences where the police were lined up along the road where we were to protect us. They were there with bicycles and whatever. And here we are walking down the street, bad-mouthing them. And I couldn't, I was part of the march, but I wouldn't sing like that. It was
Yeah.
just a difficult situation.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's okay. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I at this point in my long life of 32 years old, I've seen that, if I go to an action or a protest or something, if every song that is sung is like completely aligned with me, it's really surprising. And I think, that's part of what makes things rich is bringing people. And there have been things for me that like have felt uncomfortable to me. And then, some months later, I'm like, oh, I see why people are singing that. And yeah, I just appreciate sort of being in um, like seeing my own dynamic nature. Like things will probably change. Maybe one year a song that is really uncomfortable for you will like really cut deep. Maybe a song that is like really working for you right now in a few months you're like that's not the vibe. Yeah, and I think that moments of discomfort can be growthful, and trying to be like, oh, I wonder if I can learn something from this sentiment. But yeah, totally. It's like not all songs are going to work for all of us, which is also why I think it's important to not have just one, and to have a rich variety. And I'm in sort of song leading spaces where people are talking about, you need to have songs for grief and you need to have songs for hope and you need to have songs that really kind of slow people down. And then you need to have songs that bring up the energy. So, whole variety out there. Um, anyone? Ed, did you want to go again? Oh, no. Okay.
Well,
Anyone else?
if I can, I'll give someone else a turn.
Okay. Anyone else want to share who hasn't shared yet? And if not, we'll kick it to you. Okay, Ed, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, in response to Bobby, in response to, I was talking about chance the first time, and we're in a really challenging moment right now. Saturday, October 9th, I was returning home on Chestnut Street from an errand at CVS Pharmacy, and I encountered a small march. And it was a spirited march. There were even um, progressive Jews in the march, self-identified, and they were singing the chant, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." And only 2 days after Simchas Torah, and everybody is still processing this. And I just speak to the jarring nature of chant and protest. There's something wonderful about the aesthetic of song, but I think the moment we're in now kind of just intensifies my sense of confusion about the current moment and even past moments.
Mm, I hear you. Yeah, yeah. And sense of confusion. I tend to think that um, confusion is actually important, and I think that I worked for about 5 years at a Jewish social justice organization back in Chicago, and I came to really appreciate when people would say, "I'm confused. My narratives have moved from being clear and black and white, and they've become nuanced and they've become complicated." And I much prefer confusion than people who think they know, everything and don't want to, you know, expand how they think about things and, sit down with people who might have a different opinion. And there's always, in my experience, there's always way more nuance than I think gets like sort of publicly presented. And I think I'm also glad you said that because I think it points to a thing of, protests serve a different purpose than sitting down, and talking over a nuanced, article written, where we can, really sort of duke it out and share from our hearts. And that stuff is really important. And, like listening circles and things like that and educating ourselves, really important. Protest songs, they don't do that. They serve a different purpose. They're meant to make us feel something in our kishkis. They're meant to shake us. And yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. I think that's a really good transition, actually, unless anyone else who hasn't shared wants to share about if they were ever at a protest and sang. Yeah, I think let's move on. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for your shares. As I've said, I just really love hearing about experiences of people who have, been in this stuff longer than I have. Okay, so there is a term that I thought was really sort of evocative that I learned from an awesome organizer named Gray Hagens. And Gray, who worked at Bend the Arc, I think they're still there, Gray said that songs are a form of prefigurative politics. Songs are a form of prefigurative politics. And Diane was, emailing me, we're sending out this blurb and it has prefigurative politics and I don't totally understand what that means. And I was like, so I figured we could explore it and see a little bit about what Gray was talking about. So if Bobby, you could screen share to the PowerPoint. Da, 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 da.
Getting there.
Session 2. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes. So prefigurative. What does this word mean? The act of showing or suggesting that something will happen in the future, or an example of this. The act of showing or suggesting that something will happen in the future. This is sort of pre, before, and figurative. It will figure. And okay, good night, Teresa. Thanks for being on. And then a synonym that the lovely internet gave me is prophetic, which I thought, well, that will hit. We're Jews. We have the book of, we have lots of prophets in our tradition who are doing this exact thing, showing or suggesting that something will happen in the future. So, okay, so what does it mean if we then combine the word politics with this? Let's see. And Bobby, if you go to our next slide.
Why won't it? Wait a minute.
Yep. Take your time.
There it is. You see it?
Yes, great. So prefigurative politics, and I have this little visual that says acting as if. Acting as if. And that, I think, is actually, those three words are the best, they really best capture what prefigurative politics are. And here is some more, longer definitions. Prefigurative politics are the modes of organization and social relationship that strive to reflect the future society being sought by the group. And it was coined by this thinker, Carl Boggs, in the 1970s. So modes of being that strive to reflect the future society. And then here I thought was a great quote by Adrian Kreutz, probably mispronouncing that. A way of engaging in social activism that seeks to bring about this other world, this olam haba, we say in Judaism, this world to come, by means of planting the seeds of the society of the future in the soil of today's. Let you read that to yourselves. Yeah, planting the seeds for the future in today's soil. So after I heard about this, I started thinking, yeah, songs are not long form essays with, you know, thoughtful political solutions that go into detail. They're not often, I mean, they can be, but they're often not, like going through historically situating ourselves. Really, it's a way to be a prophetic voice. And I have experienced this in protests, or other social justice spaces where song is really a powerful way to get the message out there. Like if you've ever heard, if you're familiar with the song that sort of blew up in the civil rights movement, We Shall Overcome, We Shall Overcome One Day, that was a way, I think, to get hope. And this is, some accounts that I've read, to get hope in our bodies. When you're there and you're singing with a collective and you're building off this energy, all of a sudden you start to feel, hey, yeah, maybe we are going to overcome. Maybe we actually can get there. Yeah, Karen.
Yeah, when you read this piece, that I thought immediately of We Shall Overcome. And, we will live in peace. We shall all be free, but it's all future tense, actually. It's not we are or we have done this. It's we shall. So
Right.
that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's a form of prophecy. It's saying this is the world we're striving for, and we're
Planting
gonna
the seeds, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, beautiful. Anyone else could think of like a song, a civil rights song or otherwise that sort of has this vibe of, yeah, Amy, go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking like imagine all the people living for today, and all we are asking is give peace a chance a little bit, yeah.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That is a gorgeous song of prefigurative politics. Yeah, that's great. And then if we go to the next slide, just
I don't know why this is okay.
that's all right. Yeah, so this is a quote from an article I found. More than anything, freedom music was a tool for liberation, an instrument. Bernice Johnson explained that was powerful enough to take people away from their conscious selves to a place where the physical and intellectual being worked in harmony with the spirit. So all of these intellectual things we want, all of these very real issues and these physical issues that have very real, we protest because oftentimes there's just basic material needs that people aren't getting. And in singing, it becomes part of our spirit body. It becomes a spiritual thing. And it sort of raises what we're doing sort of to a higher level. And okay, then, it looks like, okay, yeah. So in our collective Jewish body, we have a number of sort of freedom songs, prophetic songs, songs reaching forth to an olam haba, to a better future, the world to come. So Bobby, if you can hit next on this one. Okay, this was in our Torah portion it was actually this past Shabbat. Does anyone know on the left what is going on? What that text is? Lori? Oh, you gotta unmute yourself. Oh, okay. Ed?
It's Miriam singing Mi Chamocha.
Yes,
That's
Micha Mocha, Az Yashir Moshe. The Israelites have narrowly escaped Pharaoh's armies. They have crossed the sea and they see the armies drowning in the waters behind us. And this is the song they sing. Mi chamocha be'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, nora tehilot osefele. Who is like you, O God, among the gods? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders? And then it goes on to list some of the wonders. And I think that as Jews, this was our first freedom song. And this was sort of, the first sort of momentous moment of moving from slavery to freedom. And what do our people do? Break out in song. And then we have this depiction on the right, allegedly Miriam and the tambourines, which I think is personally, I'm so inspired by. They're like, we got to get our tushies out of Egypt. We got to, we don't even have time to bake our bread, but we sure as hell got to bring our instruments. I think there's something so awesome about that. Seeing that, like, we need stuff for the soul just as much as we need bread to eat. And then Bobby, can you go to the next slide? And then soon after this, we're gonna move into some song. So this next song is the Partisans song, which is from another monumental moment of liberation at the close of World War II, when our people were liberated from concentration camps. There were 20 to 30,000 Jews who hid in forests, had an underground Jewish community of those who escaped and fought. And this song was inspired by the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising and represented the power of resistance. And this is just some words. Never say that you are walking the final road. Though leaden skies obscure blue days, the hour we have been longing for will still come. Our steps will drum. And now we have a future tense. We are here. I love that. You have reaching out to the future and being here now. The morning sun will tinge our today with gold, and yesterday will vanish with the enemy. But if the sun and the dawn are delayed, like a watchword, this song will go from generation to generation. And just like Micha Mocha and the Shema, actually, the Partisans song was meant to be sung from generation to generation, which I think also speaks to a powerful component of song, and especially, freedom songs under the umbrella of prefigurative politics, is they can be carried from generation to generation. And in a way, they link us with our past and with the generations to come in the future that we're also fighting for at the same time. And I found it very, very powerful, in my own life to be singing songs that are like decades, hundreds, thousands of years old, because it reminds me that I'm not alone. I'm actually connected to a long, long, long history of people and ancestors who were doing their best to create a better world. Okay. Any final thoughts on that before we move into some singing that people want to share? Okay, great. Oh, Lori?
Finally able to get to the unmute button. Going back to the power of singing when you're at a protest. I don't know if anybody already shared this. I was teaching Hebrew school, and I'm so sorry that I was late to come to class. I don't know if anybody went to the rally in Washington, the solidarity rally for Israel. And if you were there, there was just such a sense of spirituality and power as people from across different parts of the country came together and sang Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael. And it was really a moment for everybody that was there of incredible inspiration and solidarity at a time where we all needed to be filled up.
Thank you. Yeah, and Achenu is especially potent as it's a song about freeing hostages. And so I've heard that song being sung in all sorts of different movement spaces. Okay.
I was wondering, Enid, I don't know where I am to try and I think I'm unmuted, but I can't figure out
Yes, you are
why
unmuted.
they can't see me or whatever. Maybe somebody has a better memory than mine. We were very active in the Soviet Jewry era. And I know David and at least one of our kids, two kids went to the big rally in Washington. Does anyone remember some of the songs that were sung? Because they escaped me. The other song that I want to mention, I think at least the one, well, there are two that really hit me in my soul. One is Hatikva, and the other is Yerushalayim, Shel Zachab. I don't know if there's a relationship at all among those in terms of what we're doing, but I guess in a way they're when they're sung in a way they're a sign of solidarity and freedom. But I know there were several songs during Soviet Jewry time, and I just can't remember what they were, but I just wanted to bring that up because that was another time when we were not only protesting, but we were in solidarity, certainly, with others around the world.
Beautiful.
That was what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. And that's another thing is, that song offers us is you can be across the world singing the same songs. I mean, what we talked, I just spoke of sort of this vertical connection of connecting with our ancestors and the future generations. Also, it has that horizontal connection where you're singing at the same time, but in different places. So it can connect us across space that way. Beautiful. Okay, let's go to our next slide. Okay, Deror Yikra. You can see in the right, there is the Liberty Bell, which I learned in the process of researching for this class, that the Liberty Bell actually has a quote from Leviticus 25, Pasuk 10. It's not exactly Deror Yikra, but it has this proclamation of freedom. And it's the same Hebrew from the song that we're about to talk about, which I thought was interesting. So Deror Yikra, anyone familiar with when Deror Yikra is often sung? It's a Friday night zemer. It's a Shabbat song that speaks of the feeling of liberty and freedom that Shabbat gives to human beings, nature, and the entire world after the 6 days of creation, which I thought was very on brand. And it was written in 960 in Cordoba by Dunash ben Labrat. So it's pretty old. And this bottom quote, Rebbe Baruch of Mezbuz, I'm sure I'm butchering that, of blessed memory, taught that his grandfather, the holy Baal Shem Tov, who created the Hasidic movement, which we spoke about in our last class, said that he doesn't know where someone gets his strength for the entire week unless he sings Deror Yikra in the third meal. And okay, so Bobby, you can unshare your screen. And Deror Yikra is a song that is very close to my heart, because I was in a time in my life where I was thinking a lot about my inherent worth, you know, as one of God's creations, and you know, how much freedom there is in myself when I can remember my own wholeness. And I heard a version of this song, Derori Kra, this by Yonatan Razel. It was in the credits of a TV show I was watching, and it really hit me. And I just was listening to the song over and over and over again, this Derori Kra over and over and over again. And then I started exploring what the words actually mean. And then I saw that this is a freedom song. This is Deror, literally means liberty, or freedom. And Yikra is like the divine, you know, calls out, or it can be like, you know, we call it out. Levain imbat for sons and daughters and people of all genders. So let us proclaim freedom for everyone. And then the chorus, V'yin sornchem kemo vavas, protect you like the apple of the eye. It's an ask for protection, saying that we are, you know, in this mystery, you know, whatever your conception of the divine is, I love thinking that we are the apple of the divine's eye. I just think that's so beautiful. So I'm going to share a version that I wrote that was very much inspired by this version by Yonatan Razel, but I added, I don't exactly think of it as a cover because I added a lot of English and I added my own melodies and parts of it. You'll hear it. Yeah. So this is one of those moments where you just get to relax and be sung to. And I am going to, it's always hard on the Zoom, like getting my face in and the instrument. So I'm going to do my best. Here's the guitar, and I also have to be able to see the screen. And I'm going to share in the chat the words, and all of the words, you know, there's a little bit of poetic license, but it's pretty close to the original meaning of the text. Oh, it's too long. Okay, hold on one second. I'll just put in. Huh. Also said that's too long. Okay, let me try a little shorter. Thanks for bearing with me, everyone. One more part to put in here. And of course, if you like start to get, if you start to catch on, you are definitely welcome to sing along. Okay. All the lyrics in the chat, and I'm just gonna plug in my device so that we don't have a sad opera gets disconnected in the middle of class moment. So here we have Deror Yikra, a proclamation of freedom. Okay. My original sound on. Great. Thanks for bearing with us. We don't have like a separate tech person, so me and Bobby, we got this. Okay. Terrori kra leveinim bat ve'hin sornchem kemo vavad na'im shimchem ve'lo yushbat shivunuchu b'yom Shabbat Derosh navi ve'ulami va'ot yashaseimi netasorek b'toch armi she'eshavat b'nei ami Seek my sanctuary, come into my home, give me a sign of deliverance. I give it all to you. I am the apple of your eye. I am a being precious and free, as I was meant to be. Deroch pura betoch batra v'gam bavel asher gavra netotzarai be'afevra shema koli b'yom ekra Elohim ten b'midbar har hatashita berosh tidhar ve'lamazhir ve'lanizhar shalom imten kemenahar When I cry, please hear my voice. Nurture me with peace like a river. I give it all to you. I am the apple of your eye. I am a being precious and free, as I was meant to be. Hadoch kama elkana v'mogli vav umangina v'narchiv penem aleina shonenu l'charina teyeh chochma lenafshecha v'hichater l'roshecha netzor mitzvat kedoshecha shomor shabbat kodshecha Crown me with wisdom, that my soul may live your will for me all of these sacred days. I give it all to you. I am the apple of your eye. I am a being precious and free, as I was meant to be. Terror yikra leveinim bat. Yeah, bye, 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 bye. Yeah, bye, bye, bye. Yeah, bye, bye, yeah, bye, yeah, bye. Let us proclaim freedom for all the children. We are beings precious and free, as we were meant to be. We give it all to you. We are the apple of your eye. We are beings precious and free, as we were meant to be. Terror yikra leveinim bat, ve'im sornchem kemo vavad. I am a being precious and free, as I was meant to be. So, that song is up on my SoundCloud, not to do a little self-promotion, but yeah, it's there. I made it. I'll put it in the chat. I made it to be a song for medicine. And I forgot to say this in the intro, but specifically whenever I'm carrying something that's feeling a bit heavy, a bit burdensome, a lot for one person to hold, I imagine that there is some force out there that can hold it with me, and that makes me feel a bit lighter and a bit more free. So the song is there if anyone wants to listen to it. You know what? I'll put it in the email in the Leyv Ha-Ir thread, and then you'll have it that way. Wow, that's cool to share. Thanks for listening, everyone. Okay, now we are going to do a song that we are going to sing together. And this song, there is a story here. This song originated from, I'm just gonna pull up my source so I can be sure to get it exactly right. In Lublin, Poland. I just want to get the year right. Okay, so here's the story with this song. So in 1939, a group of Hasidic Jews from the Polish city of Lublin, who I'm pretty sure I have ancestors from Lublin, were backed up against barbed wire in order to sing to their own execution. Don't worry, we're getting heavy. I'm gonna take you out of there. Don't worry. One of the men began, "Lo mir sich überbetten, überbetten, überbetten." Let us reconcile. But nobody joined him. Then he improvised, "Mir wollen sie überleben, überleben, überleben." We will outlive them. Instantly, the song took hold among the entire people until it catapulted them into a stormy and feverish dance. The commander at first laughed, but then he realized they weren't accommodating him. They were defeating him. He ordered them to stop, but they continued, even when the SS troops charged at them. Most of them lost their lives that day, but some lived to tell this story. Pretty powerful. I'm gonna put the lyrics in the chat. And so this song has been really providing a deep well of resilience for many people who are fighting for freedom and safety and dignity, for all people. And I especially love it because just thinking about the hope and the dance and the energy that these Jews had as they were literally marching to their death, I really feel like the song, these words, like their hope and their fervor for life and dignity and freedom lives on today. And I find myself, and so I'm going to share a version of this song that I wrote, and it came through to me. It was a little bit after the Squirrel Hill massacre, where there were all these just like really scary, like anti-Semitic acts of violence happening. And this was when I lived in Chicago, and there was found in a synagogue there a failed Molotov cocktail. And this was like, this was just one other event in a slew of so many. And I just came home and I just out came this song. Like, I think I'd been reflecting on these words and just out came this song. So that's the origin story of my version of it. And for me, this song transcends, it can hold all of it. It holds, the we will outlive them. I don't just hear Jews saying this, I hear folks experiencing racism and, violence to their communities, and the we will outlive them, acts of violence, homophobia, ableism, like you name it, all of the acts of oppression that are present in our world. And to me, the them, yes, does it include the Nazis? Absolutely. But I also see it in a zoomed out way as including any system that is being upheld that pits people against each other. Any system that people are upholding that says, hey, in my world, I'm free, but not you. Or like, in my world, only these people are free. To me, the them here is any system that keeps us as humans apart. So this song has two parts. We're gonna do a little call and response. The first words are very easy. Nai, 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 or yana, nai, nai, nai. So repeat after me, but stay muted. We can trust that we're in a cacophony of song. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Try that. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Beautiful. I can tell it's beautiful. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. So putting that together. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Great. We feel good about that part? We'll do one more time. Actually, a couple more times. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. 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 Okay, then. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh, again. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh. Put it all together. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh. Then the first two parts repeat and then it ends. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh. Let's try that ending. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh. It might be a little low for some of you. You'll see why. It's going to get really high. Okay. So let's do the whole thing. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh. One more time. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, nai, yana, nai, nai, nai. Oh. Beautiful. Okay. Then part two, and the Yiddish is pronounced mir veln zay, and then it looks like it should be Iberleben, but my old roommate in Chicago is a Yiddishist, and it's actually Iberleben. Iberleben. Yeah. So mir veln zay Iberleben, meaning we will outlive them. And if this part is too complicated for some of you and you want to stick to the Genonais, that's awesome. But for those of you who are up for the challenge, it goes mir veln. Let's try that. Mir veln again. Mir veln. Zay. Zay. Good. So we'll put that together. Mir van zee. Good. One more time. Mir van zee. Iberleben. 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 So that whole part. Mir van zee Iberleben. One more time. Mir van zee Iberleben. Okay. We will outlive. We will outlive. One more time. We will outlive. We're going to do this at LHI Cop Shop, and everyone that was here is going to just fly, and it's going to be great. Okay. We will outlive them. Let's try that. We will outlive them. And then the Mir Veln part repeats, and then we will outlive them goes, we will outlive them. Let's try that. We will outlive them. We will outlive them. So the first part is, we will outlive them. Second time, we will outlive them. Okay. Mir van zee Iberleben. We will outlive them. 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 We'll do that all together one more time. Mir van zee Iberleben. We will outlive them. Mir van zee Iberleben. We will outlive them. Beautiful. I can see those of you who are like really with me, and I appreciate it. Okay, so the way that this song works is it starts out with the nine eyes, and then some people, whoever wants to, stays with the Yaina eyes, and then the Mir Veln part comes in over that. You'll hear it on I have a recorded version of this. So you're welcome to, when I transition us to the Mir Veln, to join me, or you're welcome to stay with the yin and I, or play around and switch it up, so you can hear how the juxtaposition sounds. Okay. So just thinking right now.
Can you put up lyrics? I know that sounds weird, but the lyrics, the
They're in
and
the chat. Do you want them like on the screen?
Thank you. I see them now. Okay, sorry.
I forgot to point that out. That would have been easier. Yeah, these are tough words. Okay. So just wanting right now to get grounded. Yeah, to all the people out there that really, really need freedom and safety and dignity and access to community, access to medicine that they need, access to education, and the ways that we are entrapped in our own selves. The song is for all of you. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. You can stay on that. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. You can stay or mir van zeverlem, we will outlive them. Mir van zeverlem, we will outlive them. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. Mir van zeberlem, we will outlive them. Mir van zeberlem, we will outlive them. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. Mir van zeberlem, we will outlive them. Mir van zeberlem, we will outlive them. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. To all who need freedom, mir van zeberlem, we will outlive them. Mir van zeberlem, we will outlive them. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. Yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, yananai nai, yananai nai nai, oh. Thank you, everyone, for going on that journey with me. It's not an easy song, and it's not an easy song to learn virtually. Thanks for those who slogged through. May all of our kavanot, all of our intentions that we cultivated tonight, may all of our song and all of our spirit and all of our energy be a force for goodness and freedom and justice in the world, reaching back, reaching in present day, and reaching to future generations. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Avra, if you want to send me the link to your SoundCloud or whatever else, because I'll send it out. And I'll make sure I include Lori. That's it. That's the reason I was.
Okay, sounds good.
That'd be great.
Lori is my
Come on.
mother. She does have access.
Oh, well, in that case,
You could send it. It was
it's so nice to
wonderful.
meet you. I was wondering who this person was that I didn't know.
So nice to
thank
meet
you for coming.
everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone. If you haven't weighed in and want to join the choir, we haven't started yet, but the survey was due on Friday, but it's not too late. If you want to let me or Bobby know that you're interested, we'd love to have you. And thanks so much, everyone. Have a good night.
Stay tuned. We'll get to you soon with the details.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See a lot of you
Thank
in the
you.
morning. That's Shemanta.
Okay. All right. Good night. Thank you
Bye.
very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so
Good.
much, Avra.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you, Avra.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Put sound on.
Stand.
Okay.